Welcome to Body Blueprints. Today we're going to be going over how you can get V-line abs. Okay, so the highly sought after V-line abs we see all across the fitness industry is essentially developed lower ab and oblique muscles. These sit each side of the rectus abdominis or six-pack muscles. So, to achieve the same rip look with popping obliques, we need to A, develop those muscles to the point of visibility, and B, have a low enough body fat percentage to reveal these muscles and show off the V-cut abs. Generally, you won't be seeing much of the abdominal region if you're above 15% body fat. So if you are, you need to get this down. However, you can still build the foundations, so don't go anywhere just yet. Unfortunately, against common misconception, you can't target the abdominal region specifically to lose body fat. Think of the body like a swimming pool. You can't drain just one part of the pool, you must lose water across the whole thing. The same goes for losing body fat and revealing a particular muscle group. So you can do all the core work you want, but until the body fat is where it needs to be, you won't be seeing those V-lines. If you aren't quite lean enough to see your abdominals right now, it's not all bad news. You can still work on developing your oblique muscles whilst you work on reducing your overall body fat, so that by the time you do get to the 12 to 15% range, you have built the foundations for the prominent V-cut muscles you've been chasing. Here are 5 exercises guaranteed to build you chiseled V-line abs. First up, we've got a single arm cable crunch. It's a twisting movement helping to develop a tighter waist look. Here you can see I'm rotating the body, aiming to bring my right elbow to my left hip. In doing so, contracting my right oblique as I rotate and briefly pause when I crunch. Control the weight load as you come up, ensuring you feel a stretch in the oblique muscle. Then fight against the resistance to begin the descending, rotating motion. Fully exhale at the bottom of the crunch. This allows for full range and maximum contraction. You want to keep a fixed arm. This means that the distance between the bicep and the forearm should stay the same. This ensures that the core is isolated and you're not using your arms to help assist. As you can see here, with the cable held in my right hand, I'm driving towards my left hip, targeting my right oblique as I rotate. Mind to muscle connection is important here to focus on each side specifically. Next up, we've got cable wood chops, a rotation movement, again using the cables, so it's ideal for all ability levels. Most of the rotation should come from the torso. When performing the exercise, keep arms in a fixed position, so minimal movement from the elbow joint. As I'm doing here, try and keep the inside of your bicep tight to your pecs. This will force a consistent focus on the core muscles. Every rep, exhale as you begin the chopping motion and complete your exhalation by the point of contraction. As you rotate back to your starting point, inhale. Focus on a full range of motion to get the most out of every rep. Keep the exercise controlled throughout with a consistent tempo of 2 to 3 seconds on the negative, all the way up, followed by a more explosive chopping action of around 1 second and a brief pause when contracting the obliques at the bottom of the chop. My personal preference for oblique targeting is having the handle at the top of the cable system and chopping downward towards my hip. You can adjust the height to find your preference. You might find it is more engaging rotating from chest height. Unlike the first cable crunch, wood chops will engage the whole core. Although we are targeting our oblique specifically here, it's a great builder for overall core strength. The third exercise we're looking at is Russian twists, a twisting motion while reclining, using your core strength to hold position. It's important that you rotate your torso right to left, changing the direction of your chest. As you can see, I'm holding a weight and leaning back on a decline bench. This will be the most challenging variation, as not only do you need to twist, working your obliques, but your lower and upper and inner sheath of your core will need to work to maintain the position. This can be done without a weight to decrease intensity if needed. When introducing weights to this movement, start with a light plate and work up. The Russian twist can also be performed on the floor if you don't have access to a decline bench. The toughest variation of this will be keeping your feet off the floor throughout, but don't worry if you're not there yet. Grounding your feet as I do now will help you control the movement, and you can eventually move to the balancing version when you're looking to ramp up the intensity. Kettlebells and dumbbells can also be used as a weight load if preferred. Try to touch the weight down by your hip as I'm doing here with the kettlebell. This will help force the torso rotation, activating your core and oblique muscles, avoiding using your arms. If you don't have the strength yet to hold a weight for the full set, you can perform this movement without, focusing on the rotation and oblique contraction still. When performing the movement on the floor, foot position will play a part in difficulty. The The further forward your feet are, the easier the movement will become. The fourth movement we're looking at is the decline crunch. Again, using a bench for maximum core engagement and exercise intensity. Unlike a regular crunch, we're rotating the body each rep. Aiming to bring our elbows to the opposite knee, this will give more focus on the obliques, developing the muscles responsible for the V-line abs. The decline crunch will allow the fullest range of motion as you can go past 180 degrees, forcing a fight against gravity when descending. You'll feel your whole core work hard to keep yourself in control. If you don't have access to a decline bench or are unable to perform it just yet, this movement can also be performed with a floor-based variation as shown here. Again, aiming elbows to opposite knees. You should be aiming for a minimum of 10 reps each side on this movement. But if you're not quite there or just want to burn the obliques out further, try this variation. You'll be holding a crunch position while sliding hands down the side of the body, aiming to touch your heels each rep. Focus on squeezing the obliques when you reach the heel. And at number 5, we've got the hanging knee raise. It's a great exercise for overall core development. It targets the obliques and lower abdominals. When performing, engage your core and lats to stop you from swinging around. You want to stay still throughout. Focus on bringing your hips up towards you. You want to get your knees up past 90 degrees. As you can see, I'm alternating left to right. This is a variation I like to do when looking to give direct focus on the oblique muscles. Squeeze at the top of every rep and keep both parts of the movement slow and controlled. If you struggle with your own body weight, I would avoid the hanging variation as you won't be able to get the most out of your core. Your grip will give first. This is where the dip bar variation comes in. It's a lot easier for you to hold position and ensure it stays a core focus movement. Complete these 5 exercises either as an entire ab session or select a few to do at the end of a workout. And try to do these twice per week for maximum oblique development. Each time you perform these exercises, you'll be breaking down the muscle tissue in your obliques, which will then rebuild bigger, more visible, and stronger. So try to focus each time on progressively overloading the muscle by increasing weight load where possible, reps or sets if necessary. And remember, you must be lean enough to reveal these muscles. So if you're not quite there yet, take a look at our video on how to drop body fat fast and efficiently. Subscribe if you haven't. See you on the next one.